Well, there is a lot of chatter happening right now in conservative circles regarding Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, who recently went into the FBI, took over the department, and now many are questioning their actual loyalty and if the two have been compromised or maybe even have some kind of blackmail being held over their heads. Well, I've kind of got a couple of theories that I want to show and share with you guys because I think there's more to the story that many in alternative media are missing. And I believe there absolutely is something deeper going on. And I'm going to share it in today's broadcast. But as a reminder, let's go back to go forward to see why people are questioning these two. Well, one of the biggest things that came out a couple of weeks ago, earlier this month, was the fact that Patel and Bongino dismissed Epstein's conspiracy theories and actually came out and said, yes, Jeffrey Epstein did in fact kill himself. Now, I've got my own theory on that, but that started the chatter within the conservative circles, and mainly to the fact of, well, if they're going to come out and say this, where is the evidence to back it up? And they have yet to provide any of that to, well, anyone. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that information is coming, but that's not all. They also came out and dropped a couple of other bombshells, specifically regarding January 6th and whether or not J6ers were edged on.
You're getting answers on January 6th. You're getting answers on what sourcing was utilized, what money was utilized, how many assets were utilized, who made those decisions. You're getting it. We can only control the FBI, but you're getting it from the FBI.
Were there FBI agents undercover egging people on?
Like I said, that answer is coming. I want the American public to go back and look at what our predecessors stated to Congress under oath, that there were no FBI sources utilized in and around January 6th. I'm going to leave it at that, but go play the videotape and look for this material coming to Congress.
So eventually we're going to get the information. It seems kind of like that's the answers we're always getting. You know, they gave a similar answer regarding Donald Trump's assassination attempt.
How come we don't have more information on the assassination attempts on President Trump?
There's two reasons, two open, ongoing prosecutions. So two of the investigations are obviously closed because the individuals are dead, but there's two live prosecutions, and so we can't get ahead of the federal court case. A lot of that information will come out in the federal court cases, but we have personally invested our time in making sure that we have looked at any possible international connections to terrorism and adversaries alike. And we've both been down to Quantico. We've both done the laboratory testing. We've both seen the explosives analysis. We've both seen the firearm and physically held it. We are all in on these investigations.
Interesting, right? So I do believe there is more to the story. But before I dive into that, just a quick break from my sponsor. Well, have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? Well, I saw a video of him the other day and I was completely shocked. I mean, the man is literally in his 80s. He is working out, kicking butt, and more active than ever. In fact, what stood out to me is that he seemed stronger than he's ever been. He works out longer and he had lots and lots of energy. And I thought to myself, I want to be like him when I'm his age. So what the heck is he doing that is changing his lifestyle, right? So he claims that he did this by making one change in his life. And I want to encourage you guys to check out that change. And in order to check it out, all you have to do is go to chuckdefense.com/haven to find out what that change is. And I have to tell you, I found out what that change was, and it made a huge difference in my life. And I honestly believe that it will make a huge difference in your life. This is why I've sponsored with them. But you can check it out at chuckdefense.com/haven. And if you want more information, you can click the link in the description box below to watch the video, or if you're on the cell phone, click that more button. But trust me, you're going to want to check this out. Go to chuckdefense.com/haven. All right, back to the broadcast. As a quick reminder, please make sure you're still subscribed to the channel and double check it because YouTube has been unsubbing people en masse. But make sure you go all the way to the top and hit that bell. And if you're new, welcome to the channel. And don't forget, hit that like button. But with that, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel seem to be giving us the same old playbook and games that we have had from the FBI in the past. In fact, Dan Bongino came out recently, yesterday, May 26th, and stated that, more information is coming regarding a couple of things. And here's just the latest update. You can see this was posted by Dan Bongino, and the date of it, May 26, 2025. But here's what he says. Thanks for following this account and allowing us to update you about what we're doing at the FBI. And he says, the director and I will have most of our incoming reform teams in place by next week. Hiring process can take some time, but we're approaching the finish line. In other words, they're hiring more people, hopefully to do more investigations about the stuff we want them to investigate, right? Number 2, and this is where he details what they're actually honing in on. Shortly after swearing in, the director and I evaluated a number of cases of potential public corruption that understandably have garnered public interest. We made the decision to either reopen or push additional resources and investigative attention to these cases. These cases are the DC pipe bombing investigation, the cocaine discovery at the prior administration's White House, and the leak of the Supreme Court Dobbs case. I received requested briefings on these cases weekly, and we are making progress. If you have any tips on these that matter that may assist us, then please contact the FBI. He goes on, the director and I have done only one media interview, which, by the way, was the portions I showed you. We decided early on to limit our media footprint overall in order to keep the attention on the work being done. There are both positives and negatives to this approach. We have chosen to communicate in writing on this platform to fill some of the inevitable information vacuums. I try to read as much of your feedback as possible, but the workday is busy and my office is a SCIF with limited phone access, right? So looking for information and thank you for support and blah, 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 blah. So this is the latest. But I want you to notice that the 3 things that they are focusing on are the pipe bombing, which I really want answers on that. The cocaine discovery, whatever, I'm kind of over it, right? And the leak of the Supreme Court case. Okay, whatever. I think that they could be focusing on a little more powerful stuff. Like, I don't know, maybe the corruption of congressional leaders who have stuck a lot of money in their pockets and nobody knows how that freaking money got there. How about that? Or how about some of the crap that Merrick Garland did, or Adam Shifty Schiff, or some of the crimes that have been committed by those? I would rather see that. Definitely the J6 pipe bombing. And here's the deal. I don't know how much information they're going to have readily available to investigate some of these things, because these happened years and years and years ago. A lot of these cases, I think, could very well be compromised by now. But that's my take. But either way, the deal is right now, they're saying, okay, here's what we're going to go after. We're not really going to have any media attention. So conservatives just kind of wing it and figure it out. Here's the deal. And I'm going to be very clear with you. I'm going to start on my theory now of what I think is going on with Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. For starters, I listened to Dan Bongino for a number of years. I always had faith that when he got into the FBI, that he would do what he was supposed to do. And I believed him for it, right? And here's the other thing. Dan Bongino took a massive pay cut, obviously, to go in the FBI. So I wholeheartedly believe that he is in there, obviously not for the money, but to make America safe and great again, and to actually go after real criminals. Okay, that's what many of us believed when both him and Kash Patel went in, and that's what we thought was going to happen, right? Then we have all the stuff you just saw, and we don't have answers yet. The second thing I want to state is we need to give them more time. We absolutely do. They just got in months ago. You're not going to solve an investigation from years and years and years ago this quick. You're just not, especially when you have people within the FBI and the DOJ who are literally fighting against you, hiding information, putting things in places that they don't belong, covering up things. There is an all-out rebellion within the FBI. Now, what ticks me off is that more people have not been fired within the FBI, and that leaves me a little bit of skepticism, right? So that's it. We have to give him more time on some of these cases. Eventually, will it come out? Hell, I don't know. But what came out about Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself or did kill himself, that was very disappointing because they have yet to provide any of the information. But bottom line, people are asking, is he compromised, right? Well, number one, people are very unhappy because he's making statements and hasn't brought forward the record. And still, we have no arrest from people who went to Epstein Island. It's like they just all got away scot-free. And nothing in his latest ploy says anything about investigating all the people, you know what I'm talking about, all the creeps and idiots who went to the island there, right? Nothing about that, but I digress. Either way, here's 4 things that could be going on here. Number 1, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are absolutely telling us the truth. That's it. I've got some skepticism in that because, number 1, the fact that they claim that Epstein did kill himself without any evidence, there's got to be more to the story. And second, when I showed you the clip about Kash Patel and Dan Bongino giving us or having more information potentially on Donald Trump's assassination attempts, they kind of downplayed it further in the interview. And I didn't show that part, but they kind of downplayed it and like, yeah, you may not get the bombshells you're expecting. So it sounds like they're still kind of going with the narrative, but either way, they could be telling us the truth. Not my strongest one, I'm going to be honest. Number 2, they are having to sway the truth, so to speak, or not tell you the truth because there is some kind of national security threat of some sort. For example, if the public really were to find out, say, something about Epstein and his not so suicide, whatever, right? If we were to find out some information on that, or maybe find out different information about Donald Trump's assassination, maybe that could cause an internal war, putting our security at risk. That's number 2. That's a potential. Now, I want you guys in the comment section, I'm going to ask you to be active this time, to tell me 1, 2, 3, or 4. Like, what do you think it is? Like, I really want to know. Maybe I'll put out a poll on the community page. So take a look for that. But number 1, that's number 2. Number 3, the FBI, before Kash Patel and Dan Bongino even got into office, they knew they were coming into office, right? Obviously, they had a heads up, and there's nothing the Trump administration could have done about it. I think it's possible that the FBI already got rid of all the evidence or got rid of the evidence from the get-go when it happened and covered their tracks before they even got in. Maybe even they were able to manipulate the evidence to make it look like fill in the blank. Jeffrey Epstein did kill himself, for example, right? Maybe that's what went on. And now all of the evidence that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel have all just happen to point to, yes, Epstein did kill himself, or nothing else happened in the attempts on Donald Trump's life. No, it was just, one lonesome dove and another lonesome dove with, hey, questionable foreign ties, but we don't know. Maybe they already had all the evidence changed up to make it look like. Think about it. If you're corrupt, somebody corrupt within the FBI or somebody outside of the FBI, they had to have some kind of help, right? If that was the case. But maybe the information was corrupt before they even got there. That's number 3. And I'm going to be honest, that's where I feel strongest. Number 3, I really think that they're just not getting the real intel. And I don't think they ever will. Keep in mind, they're investigating stuff that is years and years old. You're not going to have all the information on that years later. You're just not. And I think it's bad of them to still discount the theories the way that they are, because they've got to know at some level. But either way, I think they've got compromising information. So number 3 is where I stand. But number 4, there's a number 4th one, and that is they are compromised, absolutely compromised, and potentially being blackmailed, held hostage, blackmail kind of thing. Maybe that too. Maybe somebody says, hey, if you share this information, here's what's going to happen. Maybe their hands are tied and there have been threats. I don't know. That's a possibility as well. So between the four, where do you stand? Number one, number two, number three, number four. Just a reminder, number one, they're telling the truth. Two, there's some kind of national security threat in multiple areas they have to hide. Three, the evidence was already corrupted before they got in. Or four, they're compromised and there's some kind of blackmail going on. Love to get your thoughts. I'm sitting on number three because I have a lot of faith in Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. If something happens under their administration and we have the answers right away, I think that'll tell us everything we need to know. But so far, I really want to see some arrests of people who have committed actual crimes, like, some of the crimes that were brought up under the Biden era and completely ignored, like Liz Cheney's got a list, right? But we haven't seen any of that yet. Obviously, they have pardons in some way, shape, or form. But anyhow, can't wait to hear your thoughts and concerns on all of that. As a quick reminder, get to Restricted Republic. .com because I've got so much information to share with you on there. And Justice Knight and myself have been kind of going in detail with exclusive content that you're not getting anywhere else. And you can only find this at restrictedrepublic.com. I'm putting out a big report today. Justice Knight is putting out a big one tomorrow. So use the coupon code Lisa and the number 5 to get it for $5 per month. But I really hope to see you over at Restricted Republic. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.